Happy Friday.
We made it.
Woohoo! We made it.
Some of us did.
Oh, man. I know. Barely, I'll be honest.
Present and accounted for. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're here.
Right. Oh, my gosh. I'll just do a half raise there. I'm still in recovery from New York City because there's a lot of people there. So that's hard.
It's sensory. The sensory overload.
It's very people-y there.
Yes. Love it. It is so people-y. It's extra people-y. So, whew, gosh. Did you make it, besties? I hope you did. If you're listening to this, you did.
If you're listening or reading the transcript, which you are, but one or both. But I will give Leigh an A+ for the stories.
She did a great job.
Great job putting the content out there. I know. How did you think about that? Did you see us visibly on your shoulder, Leigh?
Yes, I did. And then I had people like reply to the stories. Yay, good job. Like people are like, yay, the stories you promised. Yay, more stories, like you said.
Oh, that's so funny.
So I did feel the pressure, which was fine, but you all didn't see it all. I couldn't keep up with like everything that I did, but I tried. I did better than usual. How about that?
You did a great job. Your backpack was a huge hit, not only with Mama Manager Method, but a lot of besties. They were like, drop the link.
Oh, yeah. I need to do that. I'll put that.
Yeah, we'll put that in your story, and then we'll put that in the HR Besties story. But I tell you, nobody can move more swiftly than Mama Manager Method. When she sees a purchase, she immediately, can you ask Leigh where she got that backpack from? Leigh drops it. I mean, within about, what was it, Leigh? 97 seconds.
Probably.
She's like, done, booked it. I got it in black. Leigh's was in white. So
and then the next day she had it. Like, it was great. I was still on, vacation, and she's like wearing it too,
She's going to show up in Times Square. Like, Leigh, I'm here. Look, I got your backpack. Backpack.
Right.
It's cute. Now I'm here, so I can see it. I can tell you in person. It's a cute bag. I can give you all the descriptions. So it's great.
Exactly. Well, I hope she enjoys it, and whoever else. I got lots of messages on it. So yeah. Oh gosh, I don't try to be a clothes or beauty influencer, but man, people all the time in my DMs asking for stuff,
I know.
And of course I'm not trying to keep it to myself,
Oh, same. But I'm like, y'all don't understand how cheap I am. Like, like my bag is $30. Like, you want the link? Hell yeah, Walmart.
Well, I need to figure out my bag situation. And my bag right now is not like a travel backpack. It's like a work backpack. Leigh has seen my travel backpack. It's like a satchel that I wore to SHRM, that I will wear to HR Tech, because it holds my HR Besties and Manager Methods separate business cards. It has at least a couple pockets, so I don't, mix business and pleasure. But a funny thing, so when I worked at McKinsey consulting firm, you could get a discount on Tumi bags. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't just yes. But those that are listening, and I have former colleagues, including my friend in Amsterdam, who was there for my destruction of company property, they know this. The link that we would send was not like a Tumi website. It was like a suspicious, you think it's like a phishing attempt. I reported it for phishing. It's not. And so even when you buy it, it's like, it's not going to show up on your credit card as like anything. It's like, Joe's discount, whatever. It was like the funniest thing. And I have mentioned this to a few people, as you can imagine. I tend to bring up topics that I work on. I'm like, did you ever order that discounted product? And people are like, oh my God, I literally thought my credit card had gotten stolen. But no, I do have a cute, like a Tumi bag from that. So it did arrive, but anyway.
It was real.
Well, I was going to say, was it a dupe?
That's a good point. I luckily,
it might be.
Yeah, I don't know the difference. I think Leigh has probably a discerning eye and would be able to tell the difference. I can't, and so it's fine by me. It has the logo. Nothing's frayed as of yet. So there we are.
It's all Tume with like an accent.
Fumi. What's that? Is that Fumi? Sure is.
Fumi. Exactly. Fumi once, Fumi twice. Okay.
Fumi got my credit card details on the dark web.
Exactly. Fumi brand. I love it. Oh gosh.
Summertime sadness creeping in? Is the heat impacting your focus? Looking for some levity but need to embrace life with your hands on the wheel? Enhance your everyday with Via. Via is a company dedicated to harnessing the natural benefits of hemp to create high quality wellness products. From setting the mood in the bedroom, ow, ow, to chilling out after a long day, Via has something for you. With award winning THC and THC free gummies, Via has a dosage to encourage your comfort. No need to block off hours of the day for an unproductive high when you can experience the full spectrum of benefits in cannabis and hemp products with a microdose of THC to give you a little boost without compromising your responsibilities. Via is also well renowned for their premium indoor THCA flower, soothing tropicals, and calming drops, all crafted with the highest quality hemp sourced from trusted, independently owned American farms. The best part? Via legally ships to all 50 states in discreet packaging directly to your door with a worry free guarantee. No medical card required. Trusted by 500,000 happy customers with their wellness needs, Via is the brand everyone's raving about. So if you're 21 or older, you can experience it for yourself and get 15% off your first order with our exclusive code BESTIES at viahemp.com. That's VIIAHEMP.com. There are also so many different zero THC products. If THC isn't for you, you can still take advantage of their CBD line with products designed for sleep, focus, and energy that will keep you glowing all summer long. So I've actually personally been loving the Zen gummies. Those are CBN and CBD gummies, and they're THC free. I love to pop one after a long day of HRing to just kind of take the edge off. So go to viahemp.com, use code BESTIES at checkout. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about this. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Enhance your everyday with Via.
So, what is going on from a happy hour perspective? Anything going on in the world of HR? I say that kind of cheeky. There's always some shit in there. Oh, we're drama filled.
I know. What has been up with us lately?
What's up? Tell us, Ashley.
Well, I got sent an article, and I love this. You know that a love language can be sending videos and articles. Then we got sent this article from the New York Times. It was over the weekend, and the digital article, and I'll say that because there were two different names in the digital and the print version. The digital version was, so human resources is making you miserable. But the print version had its name changed to exasperated by human resources. Get in line. So I guess that's kind of like an A/B. The funny thing I had was when I first read it, I thought it was going to be about people annoyed by human resources. I didn't realize it was about HR professionals that are like fed up.
Yeah, same. I mean, with a title like that. I think it's like not the perspective of HR.
That's why they made it that title, so everyone would read it.
Yeah, exactly. And I too had several actually friends send it to me as well.
It starts with like show of hands, who's fed up with human resources. But then quickly the point of it gets to, okay, if you're tired of HR, guess how people in HR feel. They feel like everybody hates them. And that's a short summary of the article. You can read it for yourself. But we had that sent by a lot of people. And so we were texting amongst ourselves. And so ladies, what do you think as far as does HR make you miserable, either as an HR person or do other HR people make you miserable?
I know both, actually. both qualify.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've been doing this for 21 years, and I can say that since 2020, HR has really changed. And it's been different. And frankly, I've been burnt out. Now, do I think that HR are the only people burnt out since 2020? Absolutely not. No. I do see the profession has changed, though, a lot since then. I mean, in 2020, granted, I was in healthcare, so maybe my perspective is a little different. But, I went from literally overnight having to worry about the safety of my employees and checking the CDC and website every day and trying to understand the new guidelines and how I was going to protect the staff and just like the constant worry of making sure I was keeping people safe. And then, then the whole shift to remote, right? So once again, healthcare for the last 11 years of my career, when you can be shifted to remote and then moving to fully remote and just then the push from C-suite to be back into the office for quote unquote collaboration. But I it's not something that HR per se even agrees with, but we have to push out the messaging, right? So then we're hated for pushing the messaging of the C-suite. So it's like, I can understand the article, but HR is a very thankless career. I mean, I've experienced this all 21 years of my career. It's thankless. People don't like you for no reason. People don't actually have any idea what the fuck we do. Even in a video I posted last week, the trending of the woman, in the music, and she's like moving every which way because and I put all the things that HR does, and like people comment underneath it like HR doesn't do any of that, they're useless. And I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, no one actually outside of HR truly understands what HR does.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that, but kind of going back to something you said, how, wow, ever since 2020, I remember it was March 2020 and the shit's hitting the fan globally. And I'm in a boardroom with executives and they're like, what are we going to do? And I am not kidding. Every single person turned to me. Mm-hmm. Like I'm an epidemiologist, like I work for the CDC, like I went to medical school. And I'm like, these are our people. These are our people to care for. I know as much as you all do when it comes to COVID and everything that's going on right now in the world, right?
Exactly.
I mean, this is not all my responsibility and my team's responsibility. And I'll tell you what, I had kind of that foreboding feeling because what I realized very, very quickly is that the pandemic absolutely exposed the lack of investments companies have made in health and safety, EHS, whatever you call it.
Yes.
No healthcare, no health services, no understanding. And here we are, right? To where what happened? A lot of that fell onto HR. And so, fuck yeah, like totally burnt out and exhausted, like having to not only be responsible for the employee experience, but now what their lives, because the company doesn't have like EHS and because hello, pandemic, like, wow, that was a lot going on. Right.
Yeah.
But for me, well, it's no question that I'm burnt out in multiple ways just due to the shifting expectations of employers on HR, right? Rightly or wrongly. So huge shifts.
A lot of sentiment in the article talked about that. And I think some of the things coming from, whether it's post-pandemic or generally, are, right, people don't know what HR does, but it's one of those professions where pay tends to be lower than a lot of other functions because it's a cost center. And so you're not, generally making revenue. And so, but you're expected to be perfect, which can feel really intimidating and exhausting. And so a lot in the article talked about that. People are talking with each other, venting about that. But one thing I think it missed out a bit is, yes, HR can be hard because you have to be there at employees' hardest moments. Sometimes you have to be the messenger to explain, no, in whether, depending on where you are, our country's laws, our company's, organization's policies, you're not entitled to payment for this. You're entitled to unpaid leave. I understand that. And so good HR can then be a conduit to the leadership to say, these are the impacts things have on employees. This is how we could shift them to be more supportive. And it can be really hard to deliver the message and try to manage up. But what I think the article was missing a bit was some of the really beautiful aspects of HR in, we talk, Jamie and I are part of, whether it's private Facebook groups or us amongst each other. Sometimes you'll hear from employees of the things that you're doing, like real gratitude. And sometimes people will share those anonymously and say, I heard this today, and this reminded me of why I continue to be in it. And so the disheartening aspect, and we posted, so on our HR Besties Instagram, we posted some of the snippets from the article, including ones that talk about a lot of the work HR does is invisible. And so people don't see the work that people do. But so many of the comments, my God, were like, one was, almost verbatim, like, I don't care about HR's feelings because they don't care about anybody else. And so they need to learn to stop being shills and only care about the shareholders. I mean, I can tell you the HR employees, when they show up to work every day and when they go home and are still thinking about work, they are not thinking about shareholders. They're thinking, they're thinking about people and really bearing the weight of that. And so those are the comment, and also, things that just paint everybody as one. We've talked about this. There's functions that are great. There's functions that are terrible. Individuals that don't have training that should not be HR for a robot company. But there are people that really care. And so by putting these messages out there saying, I've had this, one experience, and so this is how everyone must be.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, what drives me nuts is like, just because one person's had this experience, that means everyone's had this experience. And that's just simply not true.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what's, definitely just compounded the stress of being in a field like human resources, post COVID and the pandemic is just the constant change, all of the unknowns that have happened, just the fear, just so much drama, right, over the last handful of years, and things shifting and changing to where the need for employee messaging has just been through the roof. And guess what? A lot of times it's HR that's delivering those toughest messages to the people. And when it's not, it's typically leaders fucking it up. To be honest, that's a lot of the news, the headlines that you see, you know what I mean? Is, a CEO went off and said X, Y, and Z, and, then their HR and comms leader left because they never even knew they were going to say that or whatever, right? There's all sorts of examples of that. But that, in my opinion, is the big part of the burnout is just, wow. Like, we are as a business community having to be more nimble than we've ever had to be and respond to so many changes in laws or changes in just workplace issues, workplace conversations. I mean everything, right? Is just hitting us all at once these last few years, and us trying to navigate that, plus advise leaders, plus care for employees. Oh my gosh, like to be stuck in the middle like that, it hurts. It physically and mentally hurts. It's incredibly exhausting, right? So,
It's why these happy hours, getting together is super important. And so if you have within your HR team, sometimes we just had our episode last week on work friendships and how HR can be challenging, but finding your people. And if you are, whether it's an HR team of one or a really lean team, but it's finding some of these is just knowing that there's others like you that are going through these, and you're certainly not alone, and you do need support. But also some of the comments I saw were people saying, wait, I've actually really thought about getting into HR. Is that a bad idea? And, we see comments. We certainly don't go and respond to every comment because we got to live our lives and get our work done. But some of those comments, if you have an inclination to want to get into HR, two things. One is please, any job needs people that want to be there. But it's understanding what it's really like. So a question is, okay, well, what are the aspects like? If you don't want to be working as a generalist or as a business partner where you're navigating some of these people and issues, then there's tons of more technical aspects of HR. So even if you want to move into that, but the field needs people that want to be there, that get the resources and training and support. And so a lot of it is finding the organization where you can really be planted and grow and not just feel like a commodity.
Yeah, I love that sentiment that's like, hey, find that support system and that support network and lean on them. But I also would make the case for an argument for remove yourself from people that are pulling you down, holding you back, that are negative. I've worked in incredibly toxic HR teams. I mean, just horrific places. You know that if you've watched my content, it's all based on my reality and experience. And that's why I actually am not working in corporate currently. I think I did 19 years in HR, and I hope to never return to corporate HR, to be quite honest with you, because I think, those are dog years there. I've done about 100 years worth of corporate and Fortune 100s. But I think that there's a case to be made for, hey, if you aren't finding joy in your current situation, it's not necessarily the field of HR, perhaps. It's maybe the environment, the industry, the team itself, the people you surround yourself with, right? So go try and find, a fit and seek that support network and team, that Ashley speaks to, because it's so important.
Do you all know how HR got started?
No.
Military.
Yeah, tell me.
Well, so this was in the article, and I was not familiar with this, and of course, this made me want to get a book on the origins of HR, which there we are. But it was that the founder of National Cash Register, which is more notably called NCR now, but how he had the founder or CEO had been this is 100 years ago, convicted of Sherman Act violations, a bad boss, like a Luke, you may say, if you've ever watched a Manager Method video, but really treated people like commodities. And he had served, I think, a year in prison for some of his tactics. And then he saw they had $50,000 worth of returned equipment, which I don't know what that would be in today's, a lot of money in today's days. But he took the tactic that said, well, if all this is being returned, that shows that people don't feel like they're taken care of, so they don't care about what they're putting out. And so he changed his tactics and ended up creating, having whether it was daycare, he wanted to humanize. He put his desk on the floor, so he wasn't separated out from the people, and tried to humanize it. And I know there's criticisms about even the term human resources, but often people will comment and say, HR has only been invented and only to combat solely unions. And I'm sure there's probably more to the story that I'll tell you in my book club, my HR Besties full book club, when I read the treatise. But that was one aspect of the article that I found interesting, that it was someone taking that recognition that when you have shitty business conditions, like a bad product, that might be that your people don't care because they don't feel like they're taken care of. And so that's, my constant answer when people say, HR only cares about the company, the shareholders. We say this, everybody works for the same organization. But even if you walk down that line, an organization isn't going to do well if your people are treated terribly and don't feel like they're seen or anyone cares about them. And so even if you look at it solely to maximize productivity and product and output, et cetera, treating people well tends to do that. And so if that's how you have to learn that it actually feels good and you can sleep better at night by valuing people as humans. But anyway, that was an aspect of the article that I thought was interesting.
That's very interesting. Hey, I fucked up majorly. Maybe. If I wasn't such an asshole, I have to have a babysitter in here with my hand.
Well, I was that's why when I read this, I thought to myself, there's got to be a little more to this side of the story.
Yes, I need to know more.
But I do like this. And that's just something constantly the three of us trumpet and we talk about on this podcast. But this aspect of, even if you and your leadership team have to be convinced that treating people well is good for business, if that's how the angle that you have to get there, which to Leigh's point, you can be right or you can be happy. Yes, it is a good thing to treat people like humans, but you may be happier if you use some of this business data. So when I get this book, I'll share some of the synopses, and so you can have a PowerPoint deck and put that in your next presentation.
Maybe sprinkle it with some animations.
Yes, definitely.
Some clip art.
Yes,
definitely.
Clip art. I always love the phrase, how you treat your employees is how they'll treat your customers.
Yeah.
I mean, it is too true. I'm having seen that played out just a million times over.
Well, and I know I've said this before on the pod. I think it was season 1, but I worked for Marriott pretty early in my career. And that was Bill Marriott's whole thing, is you take care of your employees and they'll take care of your customers, and your customers will keep coming back. And so I learned that early on. And that's actually where I got all of my manager and management training, was through Marriott. And when it's ingrained in you, that doesn't ever leave you. And so I feel like that's why there's companies that are successful and they actually do care about the employee, because it is true. You're going to take care of your people. They're going to take care of your people, and they're going to keep coming back. And then there's a loyalty.
Facts.
So not all HR people are bad. Fuck off.
I refuse to accept that misery must exist in the workplace. And I don't pretend like that's not the case for many people right now. And that's not the reality in organizations or with certain colleagues or managers. But I truly believe it is possible, whether you want to find super joy at work or whether you just want to go someplace and feel like you're treated like a human. That is a life-changing experience. And it's the people that have never seen that I think run to the comments and just try to tear down other people and speak in absolutes. Like this is never happens. No one ever cares. None of this. When you have that experience and you, especially working with a manager who creates that environment for you, ooh, it is lightning in the bottle.
Yeah, I always feel sorry for the people that leave those comments to that exact point, Ashley. Like, God, they've never experienced, a great environment or a great leader, and that sucks. Like, So
if you look on our HR Besties, our post, we did a post about it the other day, and there's a lot of comments across the board on that. And so go in and check those out. We'll put it back in our stories right when the happy hour pops up. So add your comments and look at it, and just think about what you can do. You can't control everything, but you can do things to create a different experience for those team members that have to see it, to believe that you care about them.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And one for yourself too, right? So Don't stick around in a miserable environment if you do not have to. That is for sure. You do not have to is the point.
It's that time of the year. Your vacation is coming up. You can already hear the beach waves, feel the warm breeze, relax, and think about work. You really, really want it all to work out while you're away. Monday.com gives you and the team that peace of mind. When all work is on one platform and everyone's in sync, things just flow. Wherever you are, tap the banner to go to Monday.com.
Oh, gosh, the happiest happy hour talking about misery, misery in the field. But it's quite the conversation, though. I mean, talk about just a lot going on in the function, right? Any good news? Any good news to end on? Any fun things to share?
Oh, I got one.
Oh, Jamie, all yours, please. Feel Good Friday.
My kids went back to school this week.
Oh, congrats.
Yay! God, I love them, but I'm telling you, when back to school hits, it's like, oh, yes, structure. Yes.
Yeah, routine, right?
Oh my gosh. It's like a relief.
You survived.
Yes,
you
I
survived the summer.
Sorry, teachers, but tag, you're it.
Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever been a room parent, or the more colloquial term, room mom? Have you ever filled that role?
No. I mean, I don't. And look, if I didn't have 18 full-time jobs, maybe. But I do like to volunteer. So like I probably at least once or twice a year, I'll like go read a book or, help out the PTO, but I am definitely not on the PTO or a room mom. Happy to help, or even Venmo the teacher for supplies.
Right. There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
But that's about it.
Which, as a daughter of a teacher, I know they appreciate that.
Exactly. And I do, yes, I actually, and I'm going to do it. I was thinking about doing it this year. I think that I'm going to use my platform, probably on Humorous, that if you know a teacher that is in need, I think weekly I'll post their Amazon wish list.
Oh, that's nice.
I think I'm going to do that.
I love that.
I've been wanting to do it, and you know what? Fuck it. I'm announcing it right now, so I'm going to.
Humorous.
So send teachers my way with their Amazon wish list.
Humorous_resources.
Yep.
That's awesome. Love that.
I love that. That's so great.
Love it.
Ashley, you got any good news?
We've see family. I came down to the Villages to see family,
Florida.
work remotely. Yeah, Florida. The Hurricane Debbie did not hit as badly as we thought, so
Thank goodness.
that's been nice. We did bring Rosie the dog on the road trip. That was an adventure. I thought one or more of us may not survive this. My husband, Mr. Manager Method, Dan, is not the biggest dog person in the world like I am. And so his interest in hearing my dog whine, because she can't be more than 4 inches away from me. But I'm going to get some good karma because I decided not to connect Leigh to my hater that let me know a few criticisms, including that they didn't like the podcast. And we talked about setting up the script of justice for Leigh to set up a call. In the poll, people did in the poll more than not wanted that to happen. But I feel like we talk a lot about respecting people's time. And I feel like that would be inviting. That would not be inviting nice karma. Although I have spent a lot of time visualizing what that would be like, and I've gotten a lot of chuckles myself. So that is my collection of good things for the week. Leigh?
Oh, well, that's good. No, it definitely would have been a waste of my time, so I appreciate that, I mean, I would have enjoyed it. I would have fun, but I got all that out in New York City last weekend. All those little street fights and whatever, like all those little people run-ins, the impromptu things,
Throwing bows.
Oh, damn. Oh, man. Like the guy in the theater on his phone on full brightness while they're performing.
Oh, my
and I'm
God.
like, turn it off. All scared of him. He didn't come back after intermission. He sure didn't. He did not. He ran.
Growl at
Hell
him?
yeah, I did. Because that is so freaking disrespectful.
That's so
and that
funny.
shit's expensive.
Yes.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And for him to just be in a baseball hat, short, he did not want to be there. So, bitch, don't be here.
Yeah.
Come on, turn it off. I'm that person.
I like those Broadway seats that have the booster in them.
Oh, do you use
I had
those?
to use them. Well, because somebody probably your height sat in front of me.
Probably.
It was a man, that wasn't you. And I was like, God. And so I was there with my daughter. But so I've used a booster before. So shout out to Broadway.
And then the person behind you has 2 boosters, and then the person I have has 3 boosters. It just everyone gets boosted.
It's like Caps for Sal or that kid's book. With
Yes, yeah, exactly. Oh
But you
God.
had a good trip. I mean, it looked like it, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was hot as hell though. Jamie, I know last week you talked about not having been to New York City yet. I mean, it is uncomfortable. That's about as close as you're going to get to that European feel, like just the creature comforts of living in a place where like you have your own car and you can easily get into it and you can get somewhere quickly. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. I mean, you're walking everywhere. It's hot. It's steamy because the buildings are there's not a lot of AC. They don't really like to use it. You name it. It's just an older city that's really congested. And I love it. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I've been there tons of times. I continue to go back. I enjoy food and art and museums and all that. I'm just saying, it's like when you come home, it's like, like, let me take like a real shower in a big shower with a big fridge, and I have air conditioning and ice.
We'll go in the I think the fall. Let me ask you this.
lovely.
If you all saw this week, did you see this story about RFK Jr. and the bear? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I didn't see this.
No.
What is it? Enlighten us.
We are going to link
We don't
this.
know
We're going to
nothing.
link this on our Insta story. So I guess like 10 years ago, there was a dead bear found in Central Park. And somebody on Twitter, Twitter is X, whatever, is kind of funny. Someone almost 10 years ago had written, who the F hits a bear with their car, likely by accident, and leaves it in Central Park. Anyway, this week it came out. There is an interview, and it's RFK Jr. talking to Roseanne. I swear. I don't understand. I don't know what, and it's like a filmed video. I'm sure it's something to do with his political campaign, and we're certainly not going to get political on this. I watched this thing. It's like 3 minutes long. I will link to an HR Bestie source. He talks about how they were driving and hit a bear driving, and they put it in the van. They put it in the van, and they didn't know what to do with it. And he got into New York City and realized he had dinner reservations at Peter Luger Steakhouse, and then he had a flight the next morning. And so he's like, "What are we gonna do?" He's like, I guess this is the redneck in me, which I didn't think the Kennedys had much of that in him. So as a Kentuckian, I respect that. But they dumped it. He dumped the bear had been dead at this point, but dropped it in Central Park. I mean,
what?
It was this.
That checks out for New York City, honestly.
What?
Yeah, had it.
It totally checks out, though.
Why would you put it in the car?
I mean,
though
the best is Roseanne's facial expressions, because you see them, and he's like, "I wasn't drinking," and you can see she's like giving him the question. Mm-hmm. It really looked
right. Like, okay,
were you on crack cocaine?
It is the strangest 3 minutes I've ever seen of a video. And so if it was like one of those like word poetry. Like if you were going to put random factoids together, it's very strange.
Gosh.
So we'll link it if you haven't seen it. That is New York. That's New York.
Like Mad Libs.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. It's spot on.
Oh god.
So that was it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
No, that's New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we'll go. Besties Bash.
Okay. In the fall.
Oh gosh.
No bears.
There is a bear in Central Park, but it's alive. It's in the zoo.
Yeah, a caged bear. Caged bear, intentionally
placed
and delivered, not in the back of a van.
Yes, not tossed out or whatever.
So sketchy. Like just put roadkill.
Like he should have just kept driving, right? Like, yeah.
I know. Just like, yeah. Like, why do you put it in your van? Oh, anyway.
He probably wanted to stuff its head or something, if I had to guess. You know what I mean?
I do feel like, and I'll need to rewatch it again. I watched it like a couple times and was so baffled. I couldn't even testify to all the aspects of it, because it was just, oh my God, blowing my mind. But I do think that part talks about it a little bit. Like maybe we would skin it, and
it's still weird, but okay.
God.
Well, but he talks about Peter Luger Steakhouse, which, Leigh, I don't know if you've ever been there. I went there once. Fun fact: it's a steakhouse that you could only pay. I don't know if they changed it. You could only pay in cash.
Oh,
I believe that's still true.
That's some New York stuff right there too.
Oh gosh. Well, on that note, have fun if you're going to New York City this weekend. But no matter what you're doing, enjoy. Please take a break, besties.